It's crazy to think that the guy who won 3 of the last 4 MVPs, and might even win his 4th this year, was once this overweight kid from Serbia who was addicted to Coca-Cola. All this kid wants to do is ride horses, and how he's one of the best basketball players ever. So to understand just how great Nikola Jokic has been, we gotta go back to where it started, Serbia. Jokic was born in the small city of Sombor, nestled in the northern part of Serbia. This charming little town, surrounded by rolling hills, agricultural fields, and peaceful streams, was home to around 40,000 residents. Jokic's upbringing, though, wasn't what you call luxurious. He and his family lived in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment, sharing the space with his 2 older brothers, his parents, and even his grandmother. That small apartment may have been tight, but it's where Jokic's love for basketball started to take root. From a young age, Jokic's 2 older brothers, Nemanja and Strahinja, were his heroes. These 2 weren't just regular siblings. They were his first mentors and the ones who introduced him to basketball. Nemanja was 11 years older, and Strahinja was even older, so they'd been playing for years before little Nikola even touched the ball. The earliest games weren't played on a court, but right at home, on a toy hoop hanging on a door. Can you imagine the chaos? Those playful battles helped spark his love for the game. Jokic's childhood wasn't all about basketball, though. He also fell in love with harness racing. Yes, harness racing. He even competed as an amateur. This passion stuck with him, and it's still something he enjoys today. Life in Sombor wasn't just sports and games, though. Growing up during the aftermath of the Yugoslav wars, safety often came first. Jokic and his family sometimes found themselves in bomb shelters, and survival overshadowed everything else. Those early experiences built an unshakable calmness in him, a calmness he'd carry onto the basketball court in the years to come. Despite the challenges, basketball gradually became a bigger part of Jokic's life. Nemanja and Strahinja, who had both played the game in Serbia, were always there to push and guide him. Nemanja even went on to play college basketball in the United States for Detroit Mercy, and later in professional leagues. Their connection to the game wasn't limited to their family either. They were friends with former NBA player Darko Milicic, which must have made basketball feel even closer to home. Even as a kid, Jokic started to develop a game that would one day make him stand out. It wasn't about raw athleticism or flashy moves, but rather his intelligence and skill. Passing quickly became one of his specialties, something that's defined him as a player ever since. Still, despite his skill, there were doubts. He wasn't the fastest or the strongest, and his physical abilities lagged behind his peers. But what he lacked in speed or strength, he made up for with his sharp mind and an ability to see plays unfold before anyone else did. At 16 years old, everything changed. Jokic left Sombor to join KK Mega Basket, a team based in Serbia's bustling capital, Belgrade. For a kid from a small, peaceful town, Belgrade must have felt like an entirely different world. With over 1 million residents, the city's size and energy were likely overwhelming at first, but Jokic embraced the opportunity, knowing this was his chance to prove himself. That decision to leave home and take a leap into the unknown wasn't easy, especially for someone so deeply connected to his roots. Sombor was more than just a hometown. It was a part of who he was. But Jokic didn't let the move shake him. Instead, he drew on the calmness and quiet determination he developed during his early years. That mindset became his foundation, and it helped him thrive, even as he faced new challenges in a city far from home. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I'd genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Jokic. Jokic's story isn't just about a kid who made it out of a small town. It's about resilience, family, and a love for the game. Those early days in Sombor, playing basketball with his brothers, competing in harness races, and navigating life in a post-war environment shaped him into the player and person he is today. His journey might have started in a cramped apartment in a tiny Serbian town, but it's taken him to places far beyond what anyone could have imagined. But then we can look at the basketball part. Jokic's move to Belgrade wasn't just a big change in location, it was a whole new level of competition. After spending his childhood developing his game in Sombor, he took the next step by joining Vojvodina Srbijagas, where he quickly made a name for himself. This wasn't just some local team. This was serious basketball, and Jokic wasted no time showing what he could do. He pulled off something ridiculous, achieving a total index rating greater than 50 in back-to-back games. That's the kind of stat that makes people take notice, and that's exactly what happened. By December of 2012, Jokic had signed a contract with Mega Vizura. This was a huge opportunity, but nothing was handed to him. In that first season, He spent most of his time with the junior team, getting limited minutes with the senior squad. As a 17-year-old, he managed to appear in 5 Serbian league games, averaging just under 2 points and 2 rebounds in a little over 10 minutes per game. Those numbers weren't exactly jaw-dropping, but this wasn't about instant success. This was about development. By February of 2013, Mega Vizura saw enough potential in Jokic to lock him into a 4-year contract. They weren't betting on a finished product. They were investing in what he could become. And by the time the 2013-14 season rolled around, he was ready for a bigger role. Over 25 games in the Adriatic League, he put up solid numbers: 11.4 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 2.5 assists per game. That's when it became clear. This kid wasn't just another prospect. He had something special. He continued that growth in the Serbian league, where he played 13 games and averaged just under 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. The improvement was obvious. His confidence was growing, and so was his game, but no one could have predicted what was coming next. Then came the 2014 NBA draft. June 26 to be exact. Jokic's name wasn't called early. He wasn't some can't-miss prospect or a highly touted future superstar. No, he was selected by the Denver Nuggets with the 41st overall pick, a second-round pick. The guy was literally drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Plenty of players get drafted at that spot and never see an NBA court, but Jokic wasn't just any player. He had something to prove. Despite being drafted, Jokic didn't immediately jump to the NBA. He had unfinished business in the Adriatic League, and the 2014-15 season was about to be his breakout year. Right from the first game, he made sure everyone knew his name. Mega Basket took down MZT Skopje in a 103-98 victory, and Jokic absolutely dominated. He dropped 27 points, grabbed 15 rebounds, and finished with a total index rating of 44. That kind of performance doesn't happen by accident. He was making a statement. Just over a month later, he did it again. On November 3rd, he put up 17 points, 12 rebounds, and a season-high 8 assists in a 90-84 win over Zadar. His index rating, 40. That wasn't just a good game. It was proof that Jokic was becoming one of the best players in the league. Then, on February 7th, he showed up with another monster performance. Even though Mega Basket lost to Solnoki Olaj, Jokic still put up 27 points and 15 rebounds. Just absolute dominance. Then, on March 21st, he set a new season high, scoring 28 points while grabbing 15 boards in a 100-96 victory over Igokia. It didn't matter who Mega Basket was playing. Jokic was putting up numbers. Mega Basket wasn't exactly a powerhouse that season. They finished 10th in the Adriatic League standings, but Jokic was a different story. He was becoming one of the league's biggest stars. By the time the Serbian League playoffs rolled around, he was still lighting it up. On June 8th, he dropped 23 points in a loss to Crvena Zvezda in the semifinals. But despite the loss, his season had been incredible. Across the Serbian League, Jokic averaged 18.4 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game. In the Adriatic League, he put up 15.4 points, a league, leading 9.3 rebounds and 3.5 assists per game. His overall index rating, 22, the best in the entire league. That dominance didn't go unnoticed. Jokic was named MVP for multiple rounds: round 1, round 6, round 21, and round 26. He also took home MVP honors for the entire month of February. Then on March 26th, it became official. He was named the Adriatic League's regular season MVP. And just to add another award to the collection, he was also named the league's top prospect for the season. At that point, there was no doubt. Jokic was ready for the next step. On June 9th, he parted ways with Mega Basket, leaving behind an incredible legacy to officially begin his NBA journey. His time in Serbia had shaped him into a force to be reckoned with, and now it was time to prove himself on the biggest stage in the world. Jokic's dominance in Serbia had already made it clear. He wasn't just another second-round pick. He was special, but now it was time to prove it in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets brought him in during the summer of 2015, one season after drafting him with the 41st overall pick. On July 28th, he signed his rookie contract after showing flashes of his talent in Summer League, where he averaged 8 points and 6.2 rebounds over 5 games. The stats weren't mind-blowing, but anyone paying attention could see the potential. It didn't take long for him to turn heads in the regular season. By November 18th, he had already put together a breakout performance, dropping 23 points and grabbing 12 rebounds against the San Antonio Spurs. A few months later, On January 10th, he showcased his playmaking with a career-high 9 assists in a gritty 95-92 win over the Charlotte Hornets. Then, on February 1st, he exploded for 27 points and 14 rebounds in a dominant 112-93 victory over the Toronto Raptors. The improvement was undeniable. By April 8th, he was setting new career highs, pulling down 15 rebounds in a 102-98 win over the Spurs. That rookie season was the perfect introduction. He finished third in Rookie of the Year voting and earned a spot on the all-rookie first team. But the best part, he was just getting started. The following season, he wasted no time proving that his rookie year was no fluke. On October 29th, he went off for 23 points and a career-high 17 rebounds in a 115-113 overtime loss to the Portland Trail Blazers. But despite the big numbers, his role wasn't fully established yet. After starting the first 8 games of the season, he was moved to the bench on November 12th, spending the next 14 games as a reserve. But that didn't stop him. On December 12th, while still coming off the bench, he put up 27 points and 11 rebounds in a tough 112-92 loss to the Dallas Mavericks. Then, 3 days later, everything changed. On December 15th, he was reinserted into the starting lineup, and the Nuggets offense exploded for 132 points against the Blazers. He wasn't just fitting into the system, he was the system. That moment became legendary among Nuggets fans, who started calling it Jokmas to celebrate the team finally building around him instead of Jusuf Nurkic or first-round pick Emmanuel Mudiay. With the offense flowing through him, his numbers skyrocketed. On January 16th, he dropped 30 points for the first time in his career, leading the Nuggets to a 125-112 win over the Orlando Magic. 3 days later, he topped it, scoring 35 points against the Spurs. Then, on February 3rd, he recorded his first career triple-double with 20 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists in a 121-117 win over the Milwaukee Bucks. A week later, he reached another level, torching the New York Knicks for 40 points on 17 of 23 shooting, while adding 9 rebounds and 5 assists in a 131-123 victory. That was the moment people realized he wasn't just a promising young player, he was a future superstar. His dominance didn't stop. On February 13th, he dropped 17 points, 12 assists, and a career-high 21 rebounds in a 132-110 win over the Warriors. By the end of the season, he had stacked up 6 triple-doubles, finishing 4th in the entire league behind Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and LeBron James. His playmaking, rebounding, and scoring made him one of the most unique big men in the game. He finished second in the Most Improved Player voting and was also a finalist for Assist of the Year. By the 2017 season, there was no more debating it. He was the face of the Nuggets. He wasted no time proving it, dropping a career-high 41 points in a 112-104 win over the Brooklyn Nets on November 7th. Less than a week later, he was named Western Conference Player of the Week, becoming the first Nugget to win the award since Ty Lawson in 2013. He kept rolling, even after missing 7 games in early December with an ankle sprain. On January 8th, he recorded his first triple-double of the season with 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists against the Warriors. Then, on February 15th, he made history. In a 134-123 win over the Bucks, he recorded 30 points, 15 rebounds, and a career-high 17 assists, reaching a triple-double with 1 minute and 54 seconds left in the second quarter. That wasn't just impressive, it was the fastest triple-double in NBA history, breaking a record that had stood since 1955. He wasn't done making history. 8 days later, he recorded his 3rd straight triple-double with 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists in a 122-119 win over the Spurs. On March 15th, he put up 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists against the Pistons, setting a new franchise record for most triple-doubles in a season. On April 1st, he torched the Bucks again, scoring 35 points and grabbing 13 rebounds in a 128-125 overtime win. A week later, he was named Western Conference Player of the Week again, his second time that season. On the same day, he dominated the Blazers with 15 points, 20 rebounds, and 11 assists, recording his 10th triple-double of the season. But the season didn't end the way he wanted. In the Nuggets' final game, A do-or-die battle against the Timberwolves, he put up 35 points and 10 rebounds, but Denver fell in overtime, 112-106. That loss kept them out of the playoffs by just one game. Despite the heartbreak, there was no doubt about it. Jokic was a superstar. He had transformed from a second-round pick into the franchise player, and with the way he was playing, the best was still to come. Jokic had already proven he was the face of the Nuggets, but the 2018 season was when he truly took off. On July 9th, he signed a massive 5-year, $148 million contract extension. That kind of money meant the franchise was all in on him, and he wasted no time proving he was worth every penny. Just 2 games into the season, he put on a show. On October 20th, he dropped 35 points, grabbed 12 rebounds, and dished out 11 assists in a 119-91 win over the Phoenix Suns. But here's the crazy part. He didn't miss a single shot. The only other player in NBA history to record a 30-point triple-double on perfect shooting, Wilt Chamberlain. And if that wasn't impressive enough, he also became just the second Nugget ever to record a triple-double in the first 2 games of a season, joining the legendary Fat Lever. That performance earned him Western Conference Player of the Week honors, making him just the 6th player in Nuggets history to win the award 3 or more times. A few weeks later, on November 3rd, he dropped a season-high 16 assists and 10 rebounds in a 103-88 win over the Utah Jazz. Then 6 days later, he went off for 37 points and tied his career high with 21 rebounds in a tough 112-110 loss to the Brooklyn Nets. By the start of January, he was completely dominating. On January 5th, he torched the Charlotte Hornets for 39 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists in a 123-110 win. A few days later, he had another triple-double against the Miami Heat, making him the 3rd youngest player in NBA history to reach 20 career triple-double. The only 2 who did it younger, Oscar Robertson and Magic Johnson. On January 31st, he got the recognition he deserved, his first All-Star selection. He was named a Western Conference Reserve, becoming the Nuggets' first All-Star since Carmelo Anthony in 2011. Then, in the playoffs, he made history again. In his first ever postseason game, he recorded a triple-double, becoming just the 4th player in NBA history to do it in his playoff debut. A few games later, in Game 6 against the Spurs, he set a franchise playoff record with 43 points. In the second round, he logged 65 minutes in a quadruple overtime loss against the Portland Trail Blazers, the most minutes played in a playoff game since 1953. Despite his heroics, the Nuggets lost in 7 games, but Jokic finished the postseason averaging 25.1 points, 13 rebounds, and 8.4 assists per game. After the season, he was named to the All-NBA First Team for the first time in his career. The following season, he took his game to another level. On November 8th, he hit a game-winning jumper with 1.2 seconds left to give the Nuggets a 98-97 win over the Philadelphia 76ers. Then 2 days later, he did it again, another clutch game winner in a 100-98 overtime victory against the Minnesota Timberwolves. On January 6th, he exploded for a career-high 47 points in a 123-115 road win against the Atlanta Hawks. Then, on February 4th, he put together a monster 30-point, 21-rebound, 10-assist triple-double in a 98-95 win over the Utah Jazz. He became the first player in 4 years to put up a 30-20-10 game and only the 3rd to do it since Kareem in 1976. When the playoffs rolled around, Jokic put on a masterclass. In the first round, he closed out the Utah Jazz with a game-winning hook shot, sealing an 80-78 win in Game 7. In the second round, he was even better. On September 13th, with the Nuggets facing elimination, he dropped 34 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists in a 111-98 win over the Clippers. 2 days later, he recorded a triple-double with 16 points, 22 rebounds, and 13 assists in Game 7, leading the Nuggets to another historic comeback. That made the Nuggets the first team in NBA history to come back from multiple 3-1 deficits in a single postseason. But the run ended in the Western Conference Finals, where they lost to the eventual champion Lakers in 5 games. Jokic put up 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in Denver's lone win in Game 3. By the time the next season started, it was clear Jokic was one of the best players in the world, and from the opening tip, he played like an MVP. He started the year with 4 triple-doubles in his first 6 games, including a career-high 18 assists against the Houston Rockets. That made him the first center since Wilt Chamberlain in 1968 to record that many assists in a game. Then, on February 6th, he had the best scoring night of his career, 50 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, and 3 blocks in a 119-114 loss to the Sacramento Kings. That made him the first Nugget ever to record at least 50 points and 10 assists in a game. But Jokic wasn't just putting up numbers. He was carrying the Nuggets every single night. He started the season with 20 straight double-double, the second longest streak since the ABA-NBA merger. That earned him his 3rd consecutive All-Star selection. This time, as a starter, he became the first Nugget to start an All-Star game since Carmelo Anthony in 2011. On March 2nd, he recorded his 50th career triple-double, becoming just the 9th player in NBA history to reach that mark. A few weeks later, he passed Dikembe Mutombo for the most double-doubles in franchise history. By the end of the season, he had led the Nuggets to a 47-25 record, despite missing key players due to injury. He also led the entire league in multiple advanced metrics, proving he was the most valuable player in the NBA. In the playoffs, he continued to dominate. He averaged 33 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 4.5 assists in the first round against the Trailblazers, closing them out with 36 points in Game 6. In the second round, he made more history, recording a 30-point, 20-rebound, 10-assist game, joining Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain as the only players to ever do it in the playoffs. Despite his heroics, the Nuggets were swept by the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference semifinals. In Game 4, Jokic was ejected after a hard swipe at the ball that caught Cameron Payne in the face. That ended Denver's season, but it didn't take away from what Jokic had accomplished. A few weeks later, it became official. He was named the NBA's most valuable player. He became the first center to win the award since Shaquille O'Neal in 2000, the first Serbian player to ever win it, and the lowest drafted player in NBA history to take home the honor. Not bad for a guy picked 41st overall. Jokic's journey from an overlooked second-round pick to the best player in the league was complete. And the best part, he was still getting better. Jokic was already one of the most dominant players in the league, but the 2021 season solidified his status as one of the best ever. On November 8th, things got heated in a 113-96 win over the Miami Heat. Markieff Morris shoved Jokic, and he wasn't having it. He retaliated by leveling Morris from behind, leading to an ejection and a 1-game suspension. That moment showed what everyone already knew. Jokic wasn't backing down from anyone. A month later, he made history again. On December 6th, he recorded his 60th career triple-double in a loss to the Chicago Bulls, passing Larry Bird for 8th all-time. Then, on December 27th, he tied his career high with 22 rebounds while dropping 26 points, 8 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in a tight 103-100 win over the Clippers. That put him in an exclusive club, becoming the first player since Charles Barkley in 1988 to record back-to-back games with at least 25 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 assists. By January 25th, he was setting even more records, putting up 28 points, 21 rebounds, and 9 assists in a 110-105 win over the Detroit Pistons. That game made him the only player in NBA history to reach 5,000 rebounds and 3,000 assists within his first 500 career games. Just 2 days later, he was selected for his 4th straight All-Star game, joining Alex English as the only Nuggets players to make 4 straight. Then came the stretch that separated him from everyone else. On March 6th, in an overtime win over the Pelicans, he went off for 46 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, 3 steals, and 4 blocks. He scored 30 of those 46 in the fourth quarter and overtime, becoming just the second player in NBA history, alongside Wilt Chamberlain, to record a 45-point triple-double while shooting 70% from the field. He wasn't done. 10 days later, in a win over the Wizards, he became the second fastest player ever to record 10,000 points, 5,000 rebounds, and 3,000 assists, doing it in just 516 games. 1 game behind Larry Bird's record. Then on April 7th, he secured a playoff spot by putting up 35 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists, and 4 steals in a win over Memphis. That game capped off an insane season, where he became the first player in NBA history to record 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a single season. Even with Denver missing two of its best players, Jokic led them to 48 wins and the 6th seed in the playoff. He finished the year averaging 27.1 points, 13.8 rebounds, and 7.9 assists on absurd efficiency. His advanced stats were off the charts, and he led the league in almost every key metric, including the highest player efficiency rating ever recorded. The result? Another MVP award, making him the 13th player ever to win back-to-back MVPs. The next season, Jokic had his eyes on something bigger, a championship. He started off strong, signing a 5-year, $264 million Supermax deal, the richest in NBA history at the time. Then, on November 3rd, he broke another Chamberlain record, logging his 79th career triple-double in a win over the Thunder. A month later, on December 18th, he posted a ridiculous 40-point, 27-rebound, 10-assist triple-double in a win over Charlotte, becoming the first player to do that since Wilt in 1968. By February 15th, he had set another record. His Nuggets had won 25 straight games when he recorded a triple-double, the longest such streak in NBA history. Then, on March 27, he recorded his 100th career triple-double, becoming just the 6th player ever to hit that milestone. The playoffs were where Jokic truly showed he was the best in the world. In Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers, he posted 34 points, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists. In Game 4, he secured his 8th triple-double of the postseason, breaking Chamberlain's record for most in a single playoffs. He led the Nuggets to their first finals appearance ever, averaging 27.8 points, 14.5 rebounds, and 11.8 assists in the series. In the finals against Miami, he was unstoppable. In Game 1, he recorded a triple-double in his finals debut. In Game 3, he became the first player ever to record a 30-point, 20-rebound, 10-assist game in the finals. In Game 5, he put up 28 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 assists to clinch Denver's first ever championship. He was named Finals MVP, becoming the lowest drafted player ever to win the award. He led the entire playoffs in total points, rebound, and assists, something no one had ever done before. Coming off a championship, Jokic kept making history. On October 24th, he opened the new season with a triple-double in a win over the Lakers, joining Magic Johnson and LeBron James as the only Finals MVPs to start the next season with a triple-double. A week later, he posted a triple-double with 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists in an overtime win over Brooklyn, making him just the second player in history to hit those numbers in a game. By December 5th, he had passed Magic Johnson for third on the all-time triple-double list. Then, on December 8th, he scored a career-high 56 points, becoming the first player ever to record 55 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 made threes in a game. The next day, he followed that up with 48 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists in a dominant win over Atlanta. That made him only the third player in history to post back-to-back games with at least 45 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. He continued rewriting the record books. On February 2nd, he put up 27 points, 22 rebounds, and 12 assists in a win over Portland, becoming the first player ever to record that stat line. Then, on February 22nd, he became the third player ever to record a triple-double against every single team in the NBA. In the playoffs, he once again dominated. In Game 2 against the Lakers, he posted 27 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists, securing his 4th career playoff game with at least 25 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists, more than anyone else in history. Then, in Game 5 of the conference semifinals, he dropped 40 points and 13 assists with 0 turnovers, becoming the first player ever to be responsible for over 70 points in a playoff game without committing a single turnover. At the end of the season, Jokic won his 3rd MVP award, becoming just the 9th player in history to win it at least 3 times. He also became just the 2nd player ever, alongside Oscar Robertson, to record at least 2,000 points, 900 rebounds, and 700 assists in a single season. Jokic had already accomplished more than almost any player in NBA history. 3 MVPs, a Finals MVP, and a championship. But the scary part, he's still in his prime. Now the question is, will he win MVP this season, or will they give it to SGA? I'm not really sure, I guess we'll have to see. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.